Anyway, I consider myself an entrepreneur. I have a background in fine art, and I also have a background in graphic design. Back in the 90s, I put all my oils, acrylics, paints away. I got tired of lugging the canvases, and I wanted to do digital art, so I decided to be a digital fine artist. And these are samples of some of my work. And then my graphic design, I started creating patterns because these were things I was learning on the computer. So that's how it started. So I didn't know anything about the computer. I didn't know anything about email or websites. So I decided, well, let me see what this is about. How am I going to pay for that computer and my artwork? So that's what inspired me to start creating this kind of work. I didn't want to do an art show, but I wanted to do a collection of art. So what I do is I approach manufacturers with my artwork instead of going to a gallery and say, this artwork would be appropriate for your product. I learned from other professionals that were doing this. I also got books. I learned a lot by just calling the companies and just asking them if they use the artwork or not. These are samples of some of the artwork that I do. I go into stores and I see products. I get inspired by the artwork and the clothing. So I got into fashion print about 8 years ago to add to what I was already doing. The soulful piece right there, that's I could see that piece enlarged to like a 30 by 40 and put it in an office space for hospitality, hotels, etc. So that's what was on my mind for that. The graphics here, this is something I would sell to a clothing manufacturer. People ask me the process. Well, I learned how to do on this computer. I said, well, let me go ahead and draw a dot. I learned how to step and repeat it. I did a pattern with it. And these were the tutorials, by the way. When I was learning this, I was frustrated because I wasn't getting paid while I was doing this. So I went ahead and cropped the image, and I said, you know what, this will be a nice doormat. So I contacted a manufacturer and showed them several of my doormats. The next thing you know, I'm in a grocery store, and I look at a magazine, and one of my doormats is featured there. So I got into art licensing, where I started selling the rights. So this right here was going to help me pay for that computer and the software. I also get commissions from manufacturers because I know how to present them to different manufacturers. So manufacturers will hire me, not necessarily that they're interested in my art, but they like my presentations. And this was an example here where someone wanted to approach, a manufacturer wanted to approach like Target, Walmart, and Costco. And they wanted to know if I was interested in helping them with this. I don't do the 3D, so I collaborate sometimes with other artists. I turned some of my patterns into black and white because I knew that would be good for embossing, and that's how I got this job right here. As a graphic designer, I also like to help companies with their logos and their branding. I've always liked working with small businesses. This was a business here on the left-hand side. That's what they were using, and they asked me if I was, what I saw, and I said, well, this is the kind of work that I do. Let me give you a different look. So I'm just showing you the before and the after here. So I do this sort of stuff. And this kind of stuff, it breaks up the monotony. It just breaks up my day. Sometimes I can't get inspired to create any artwork. So I work with the different companies here. Now, I'm also an art business consultant. One of my challenges is when I go to galleries and I meet the artists in galleries, how do I convince them that their artwork goes beyond a gallery, that they could be using it on a different product? Because in school, I learned we were graphic designers and fine artists. But I've learned to merge both. I also get bored real easily. So I'm always jumping all over the place. People say, now what is he doing? I was doing a billboard once. Another time I'm doing, fine art pieces with an interior designer. Another time I have a clothing manufacturer, and so on. Right here's a business consultant here. For example, there's a painting outside that's selling for $700. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, while it's hanging there, is that artist presenting images to publishers? He could be making royalties, or she could be making royalties off of that. I love art licensing because sometimes I'm too lazy. I don't want to be doing a lot of artwork. I'm not one of these that has to be doing artwork all the time. I'll do a collection, And then I'll take that piece and I'll approach various manufacturers if I can sell the rights to that artwork. I went ahead and did like the wall decor. That's one of my, that's a very obvious one, but then I get into the home furnishings and fashion. I used to paint, as I said, that's a painting, top left. I put that away and got into this sort of stuff right now. Seeing my artwork on a product is what gets me excited. I like going into a store. I like calling friends. Hey, go into Target, go look at the gift wrap. I just designed it. I go into furniture stores. I love getting down on the floor, getting the rug up, and it's got my name on it. That's the kind of stuff that I get inspired with. This year, there's graphic design. It's a trade publication for in commercial art. They featured me along with a lot of other designers as 2017 people to watch. I had entered some competitions, and I find that by entering competitions, there's visibility out there and people see my work. 5 to 10 year goals. I want to continue creating artwork and licensing. I want to create custom artwork for interior designers and architects. Because I do digital, I can do all sizes and all formats with the artwork. I can also change the colors. I want to teach artists and creative individuals how to reach new markets with their creativity. It's really simple. The process is very simple. If you have an idea, I can help you or assist you in putting it together. I've had artists come to me. They did a lot of drawings. And I said, did you ever think of doing cake toppers? Next thing you know, they're doing cake toppers. I said, take it a step further. Why don't you license to the Hispanic community? So I consult with them. So now they're at the stores. But here they did figure drawing at one time. I want to provide art workshops, e-courses, art classes to organizations. I'm just now getting together with organizations who they teach artists. There's professional development, and these are things I would consider right now for artists to be thinking of maybe they could get their artwork on products. But I'm not saying to not continue doing what you're doing, but while your artwork is hanging in a gallery, in the meantime, be pursuing manufacturers to sell the rights to that artwork. But like I said, anybody can do it. You don't need a degree. You don't really have to be an artist. You put something on a product. If it sells, that's what it's going to be. And that's it.
All right, we have a question over here.
Oh my goodness, you're talking my language, because before I was doing what I'm doing, I was in product development for like 25 years, doing home decor and giftware, so this is like, love it. So are you teaching courses on like Skillshare, and have you been to Surtex and at the licensing shows to present your work to the industry? How are you getting out there?
I exhibited in the past. I don't do it anymore. I exhibited at Surtex. I exhibited at the International Licensing Show. I've exhibited at the Illustrators Marketplace.
How were those beneficial, or were they exhausting, or?
Okay, these were beneficial because those shows are geared for manufacturers that are looking for art. Mm-hmm. So specifically, they're looking for art because, and I just know artists, there's a lot of artists that don't do it because what they say is that it costs too much. And I'm thinking, well, what do you mean it costs? I mean, you're an artist. You're going to be selling art the rest of your life. There is no other way to do it. They're going to be walking the show there. If it doesn't work out the first year, you find out what didn't work or get advice from other people, and you continue doing it. But all the buyers are there to buy artwork. That's their goal. I talked to IKEA. I talked, all these different brands and stuff. I've sent my portfolio to Germany. I've talked to people from different countries by being at that show because they go there.
Great. Okay, question over here. Hi, Bense.
Hi.
Do you find that manufacturers are more likely to buy digital art, or is it okay to start with, physical art that you digitize, that wasn't created on the computer, is what I'm saying?
Well, it depends. No. If you create digital art, you look for the manufacturers that are looking for that. But I'm really at a disadvantage is the people that are doing the painting, and at least that's what I've seen. There's a lot of markets I could open if I started doing my acrylics and oils. It's just something that I'm choosing not to do. One isn't better than the other. There's a demand for the acrylics. I just walked in here and saw these paintings on there, and I said, oh my God, who did those? That's my competition right there. But I don't paint. I do digital. But those pieces that I saw, they're beautiful for publishers. I just don't know if those individuals know that. The licensing, the digital image, selling the rights is worth more than the original. I drew some seashells back in '96. I had them on a T-shirt, and it was called Name Drop. So the manufacturer would sell T-shirts in Florida, and he would just put Florida underneath my seashells. In San Diego, he would put San Diego, and so on. And I think I did. The program didn't do well for the manufacturer, but I got royalties for 2 years off those seashells. I turned those seashells and I put them on a doormat. That doormat is selling for 15 years. There's no rhyme and reason when people say, well, how much do you make? I said, it doesn't work like that. I got a royalty check yesterday for $4.95. It was something I did 5 years ago. They said, well, we're going to wait till the end of the year to pay you for that. Another day I'll get a check for $500 for something I did in 2009. It's an owl doormat that I did. I don't have a lot of, whenever I do commissions, people will ask me, do you do owls? Do you do this sort of stuff? I don't, but I will if I have my in. If I have a manufacturer that's asking me, I'll go ahead and present something, but it's not my thing.
Question over here.
I don't think I need that. You must have a good legal team. I mean, drawing up contracts for these royalties and licensing, right?
I don't.
You don't.
I don't because I got a book and I contacted individuals who were doing it. I talked to an individual who was licensed and stuff for these big brand names like Coca-Cola, etc. I went and got the book. It's the same book that I used that I got in '92. It's the same book I recommend. It's got everything down. I look, do I have the copyright? Yes. I'm only selling them the rights. They're not gonna buy all the rights. They're renting. So I just look at all the specifics on there, and I don't need to get a lawyer for that.
What's the name of the book?
What now?
The book, what's the name?
It's called Art Licensing and Design, I believe, by Leland something, I believe. No, that's how I got started. I got the books, and someone said, the contracts were intimidating. There was one that was like for 10 pages. I said, are you kidding? And I just went, no, what are they going to use it for? How long are they going to use it? How are they going to pay me? Those are the things I look for right there. And that's all that I'm interested in doing.
All right, question over here.
How have you gotten the commissions specifically?
What now?
For getting commissioned work from the manufacturers, is that common, or how do you go about getting, assignments that they want you to draw?
Oh, I contact them if I know. At the very beginning, before the internet, I just wrote everybody. I went into a store, and I just looked at the company, and I looked them up, and I would write them. That's how I did it. That's what I did with Kleenex. I went into Price Chopper in the early 90s, and I went, I just learned how to do this in Illustrator on the tutorial. I can do that. So I just hand wrote, Kleenex is what I did. So I just went in stores at the time. That's how I started.
Like when you go in, the manufacturer's looking for a specific thing and you don't have it in your portfolio, do they pay you to do that particular subject matter as well as you get the royalties?
That's a good question right there. If a manufacturer is looking for something, it depends on who the manufacturer is. Some top brands will pay you a fee to come up with something to show. They're not paying you to use it. It's just to show. The field is so competitive and everybody wants to get in that they'll spend a week presenting something just to try to get into with Kleenex. So Kleenex gets off by look. It's called spec work. That's what it is. It's spec work. It's what it is.
Is there a place you have to go to learn about what people or manufacturers are looking for?
Oh, that's a good question right there. You contact the manufacturers. is what you do. Now, I've learned over the exhibiting at the shows, I got the information from other artists at different trade shows and things like that, is what I did. So, and I also, when it comes to pay, how do you price something? The industry, it depends on the industry. Everybody does it different. With licensing, it's going to be a percentage, it's going to be a royalty. And when it comes to fashion, they just buy it outright, is what they do. But they're only going to use it one time. Because I do digital, I just change up the art. And I change the colors, and it's another piece of art. I can change a piece of art like in 5 minutes easily. So I can sell it to someone flat out, and then I can go ahead and remodify it really easily for somebody else.
What is the first step that you recommend to artists who are looking to begin to license their work?
Contact a professional artist whose stuff that you see that is in line with the kind of stuff you do. For example, for me, I was doing contemporary modern graphics on the computer. So I just went, I looked up, I saw Calvin Klein, I saw Martha Stewart that were doing it, and I went, I can do that kind of art too. Well, what did they do? Okay, they're a brand, they're established. I'm not an established brand, but I just did what they did. All I did is contacted a manufacturer, and I said, I'm Bense Garza, this is the brand, these are my designs here. I didn't know anything about any area rugs. People just said my stuff would be perfect for area rugs. I've been getting royalties off of my rugs for like over 15 years now, and the doormats.
When you say you contact the manufacturer, are you calling them? Are you writing them?
Well, I can email them now. I can email them. But there's so many that I've gotten real good at weeding out, because there's a lot of trade publications that I subscribe to. So I know, like for instance, I sent out, when someone said your stuff would be good for rugs, I contacted like 8 people right away. One person responded. I got in with them for like 5-7 years. Just like that. I don't know who's going to respond.
Domestic versus international manufacturing, is there a big difference? I would assume there is. Maybe not.
There is, but I don't get into, there is. Now, I stick more to just the art stuff, doing my digital stuff. I don't get into if it's going to look, the quality, for instance, can be different.
Right. One thing about, like, China manufactures a lot of stuff. Mexico manufactures.
Yes.
I'm just kind of curious how you may work differently if you're working with an international manufacturer versus one here within the United States.
Oh, I don't work any differently.
Okay.
But it's going to be based on trust. That's all it is. It's, by the way, it's whatever you're comfortable with. I don't give anyone any advice or anything. I just say, this is what I learned. This is what I can do. How do you know they're going to, they're going to copy it or they're going to rip you off, the companies like that. It's all based on trust and what you feel comfortable with. The other thing is, when it comes to your artwork, some people consider it real personal. Some people will say, oh, he's selling out. Someone else said, hey, I just want to make some money.
You got to pay your bills.
Well, but some people don't. Some people, I'm not pushing myself as, oh, he's a good artist or he's a good designer. That guy knows how to make money. Show me stuff. I can show you how to make money with junk. That's why I consult with artists. I look at an artist and I say, well, you're not really an artist, but let's tweak this. I said, let's tweak this here and there and put this phrase, you're going to make money. Well, they listen to me. I said, do not compare yourself to somebody else. I said, I can show you. Someone said, oh, you're kidding. I said, no, we'll just put a little border on it, frame, QC, thing like that, watch you sell it. I'm an entrepreneur. How are we going to make money with that artwork there? I go into stores. I see artwork everywhere. I go get a key at Westlakes. I see the images there. I contact the company. I'm at First Watch. They give me a straw. I see a pattern on the straw. I get the information. I immediately Google it. I'm constantly contacting manufacturers because I have archives now over the years. I've done this so long.
Question over here.
Have you been down to like Atlanta to the different gift shows to be able to walk the floors there and see all the different manufacturers there?
Yes.
If not, I was going to say, if not, you're all over that.
No, I've gone there. I had a client who hired me to go down there as a consultant to walk the show with her. I flew down there, left at 6 in the morning. I was back by 10 at night. And I went to one of the showrooms where all my rugs were. I walked into the showroom and it says Bense Garza rugs, a whole section. I've done the Vegas. I've also gone to the Vegas show, and there's also the contemporary furniture show in New York. And that's what I did. I went in there and I just contacted someone. Hey, I'm a rug designer.
Yeah, in addition to consulting, Bense also does classes on art licensing too. So if you have an organization, you want to bring him forward and he'll present.
Yeah, that's actually ties into my question with your 5 to 10 year goals, kind of where you're working to talk with artists in our local art schools or universities interested in having you come in and speak, or thinking about Atlanta. It reminds me of SCAD. I think that's the correct name of the design school, where you've got a lot of willing, I would assume, willing people who would love to learn that, and it would generate more income from you for what you love to do.
Well, see, right now what I'm doing is because, here's the thing, because I'm an entrepreneur and I've jumped everywhere, it's not like this is just what I do. There's a lot of stuff, Sam, this is the core essence of who I am, but there's a lot of other stuff that I do. There's also, I did my own t-shirts, I did my own mugs, I did my cards. I was like in 30 retail outlets here. I just took an image of the plaza, one of the statues. I put Kansas City Plaza. Next thing you know, there's a whole section in the airport. I did the mugs. I did the T-shirts, the tote bags. I did all that, but I wanted to be international. I wanted to be everywhere. But that's how I started. I was learning how to use the computer, trying to figure out how am I going to pay for this. And I remember I got into this style because I didn't have enough money to get a computer with a lot of RAM to buy Photoshop. So once I learned Illustrator, the little dots, I said, this is easy. Now let me see how much money I can make with just that style. So it's money based, I do let it, what do I have? What can I do?
Are you teaching any classes here locally currently?
No. I've been doing a lot of individuals. Now let me tell you about the individual. The individuals come to me, I evaluate their work. I'll immediately know this is what you need to be doing. Here's the list. They walk away of what to do. Another individual comes and I go, you know what, you're not ready, but if you want to, here's the list of what you need to do to be ready. For example, for me, I learned is like when someone says, you do contemporary, you do modern. Well, all of a sudden I quit doing my birthday cakes and my owls. That was not me. So once I learn, I can assess someone's artwork and I can say, this is where you belong right here. Or this is where you belong. So the first thing is, I can walk out of here and you guys can say, well, I'm going to do this and this. Well, no, first figure out what kind of artwork are you doing, who's your market. So that's one way when I meet one-on-one. Now, I'll meet with a class in a setting with 20 people or so, and everyone, you're just not going to get that individual attention. You're going to have a sculptor, you're going to have a jewelry person, et cetera. That's all. There's also books. There's also books that you can go get the books and educate yourself on that. But if someone meets with me, I'll say, oh, see these companies, stay away from this one, or this is how this one operates, or this is what they pay. I know the industry, so that's the advantage with me. I've had people that I said, go do this. They went in and hooked up with the publisher. They never came back to consult with me, and that was fine. It wasn't a problem. But I just said, ooh, I wish they would have contacted me, because if they're doing this, I know this publisher, they have more opportunities with them, and this is why. It's just things that I know about the industry. That's all.
Well, we have time for our last question. And so what can we as a community do to help you further your goals?
You what now?
What can we as a community do to help you further your goals?
Oh, all of you guys know an artist. I get artists sent my way by someone knowing. A non-artist, though. A non-artist has to meet and know somebody and say, you need to talk to this guy. You need to set up a consultation with him. If you're going to be creating art, at least let me look at it. And once I tell you, hey, I know you're comfortable with this size, but the kind of artwork you're doing would be very appropriate, let's say, for these manufacturers, and this is the size they want. And then it gets into shooting digital shots. I know the inside scoop on stuff like that, what the publishers are, so you don't waste your time. You don't want to be creating a lot of artwork all year, and then later you wish you would have known, oh, I wish I would have known this or that, It comes back to product development. There's just insight the inside scoop.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, Bense. You're very
Okay.
innovative. I like that. You have a lot of drive. So thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you.